To you about an interesting topic for me, which is how much ought you to spend to get a pretty decent smartphone? Now, I would contend that in today's modern living, we should all have a smartphone, mostly for our own benefit, but also for the side benefit that others can contact you when they need to. And so, how much ought you to spend? Now, I do have some props, but the main prop I'm going to be talking about is the phone that I'm going to be recommending, which I have no hesitation in recommending the Honor 200 Lite phone. It's Lite for Lite, and Lite is standing for the fact that it has some reduced specifications from the other Honor 200 phones, but it's also physically lighter, which I regard as an advantage. As on the screen, you'll see that I'm running a product called AirDroid, which is a free product, and it's an app that sits on your phone, and then you can go to a web page, web.airdroid.com, and log in with your credentials, and you can mirror wirelessly through the interweb to your screen. So that's what I'm doing. This is an Android 14 phone, and I bought it from the Amazon reconditioned website. Now you can buy a new one for £170, and the one I bought was slightly cheaper, and I had to spend about I think I spent about £5 or £6 on this kind of lovely case, and it didn't come with a screen protector, so I had to buy a screen protector. I got like 4 or 5 screen protectors for £5 or £10. So I probably spent about £170, £180 absolutely tops on this absolutely wonderful phone. So I'm going to go through some of the features. I've been testing it with my primary email address for over a month now. And so I'm going to be telling you what's so great about this phone, apart from its astonishing performance and screen. I've got the screen mirroring here, so if I go into things like settings, you'll see that it doesn't scroll as fast as it does on the actual phone, but it's about phone here. It's got 256 gigs of storage. It's got 8 gigabytes of memory. So this is not a low spec phone, and yet it's only cost £170. So I've gone to the. Let's go to the webpage. Oh, one thing before I must say that since I've been used to Apple phones for a long time now, with an Apple phone, even if you've got a watch to help you unlock the phone, whenever an Apple phone is unlocked, you have to, by definition, scroll up to open the phone. And a feature which I sorely miss as a user of Apple phones, predominantly these days, reluctantly, is that with the Android subsystem, and depending on the vendor, you can get it so that the phone is locked. You see the phone is locked. But when you actually look at the phone, it uses its cameras to unlock the phone. And the phone is unlocked, and it goes straight into the application that you were last there. You don't need to, once the phone is unlocked, you don't need to scroll up to unlock. So that is a super feature of Android phones. And on Pixel phones, because the Pixel phones can do facial recognition and secure facial recognition, you can open the phone not using the under-screen fingerprint reader. So on an Android Google Pixel phone, the latest phones, the Face ID is secure, okay? And it allows you to unlock the phone and use Face ID or Google's Face ID for all transactions, including unlocking the phone. Now, on an Honor phone, as with every other Android phone that I'm aware of, the unlock is not secure in the sense it's not a biometric unlock, whereas on the Google phone it is, by the way. So you can unlock the phone, but you can't use the face unlock for things like banking. Nevertheless, it's been an absolute pleasure whilst using this phone to have the phone down on the table. I pick it up, and just by looking at the phone, it unlocks. So I didn't press the thumb unlock fingerprint reader. I just looked at the phone, So that, of course, this is an option facility. You can turn it off if you're paranoid. But I love the fact that I can have the phone locked on the table. The action of moving the phone brings it to my attention, and then it just straight unlocks. So that's absolutely wonderful. Again, the other thing to say about this phone, I've got so many positives about this phone. The other beautiful thing about this phone is that I've had quite a lot of difficulty with under-screen fingerprint readers, and that's why actually on a high-end Pixel phone, which can do biometric face unlock, you need never use the fingerprint reader, which is under the screen and doesn't work so well often. Whereas on this phone, the advantage is that the fingerprint reader is on the power button here. And so as you pick up the phone, your thumb is right there and you just touch it and you've unlocked it. So you can unlock with face, but not with biometric precision. And so when you're doing any kind of banking operation, you'll have the phone unlocked. You probably unlocked it with your face, but then to do a banking transaction, you're going to be unlocking it with the thumb. Or you can choose to just unlock it with your thumb. So again, two astonishingly useful features. I really can't emphasize the greatness of Android playing a part here. Anyway, let's go to my tick list of features and the article that I'm writing, and to see again why I highly rate this phone. So the first point I've got on my list is it's only £170. Now, a high-end Google phone is, roughly speaking, let's call it £800, but it certainly isn't £200 or less. This phone is, in my testing of at least a month, day in, day out, just delighting me all the time. It's got a whopping 8 gigabytes of memory, and again, another huge 256 gigabytes of disk. And again, to get an Apple Pro phone with 256 gigabytes of disk, you'll be spending at least £1,000. So I'm comparing this phone with £1,000 phones and £800 phones, and really, it's not so far behind. The next thing I was looking for was a very bright AMOLED screen. This has got a 6.7 inch, as in quite large, and it's got a 90 Hz refresh rate screen. It's AMOLED, meaning to say it's extremely bright. I've got very average eyesight, and so for me, having a very bright screen is a must. And this very much fulfills that requirement. The next thing is it's running Android 14. As you may know, every release of Android's got different API levels. However, Android 14 level phones run every application that I know of. There's no application I've ever come across which won't run because we don't have Android 15, for example. So Android 15 is pretty good. I just had a security update today, a 100 megabyte update today. The phone is absolutely current. It was announced in April 2024, so it's not even a year old from an honest perspective. The next thing I'd like to praise the phone about is it's got 5G networking. So I do live in the countryside, but now I do actually get 5G phone signals, and so this is absolutely fine for that. Moving swiftly on, we have NFC Yes. So some phones, for example, the bargain priced, I think it's the OnePlus, or is it maybe the Nothing? Yeah, the Nothing phone. Sorry, not OnePlus. The bargain price Nothing phone, which looks kind of funky, doesn't have NFC, so you can't add your credit cards in there, which to me completely rules that out. This, of course, as with most Android phones, has NFC. Next thing is cameras. Now, this has got a ludicrously large 100 megapixel rear and a 50 megapixel front camera. Now, I would say these cameras do not give you I've got the props. They don't give you the quality that you get from your Android Pixel phone nor your iPhone Pro, but it's quite a big but. They're not far behind. Now, what I wanted to do was install the Google Gcam, Google Camera port, and if you don't know, in the Android world, Google has something called Google Camera Gcam, as it's acronymed. And there's a kind of competition that goes on constantly where people port the open source code onto phones like the Honor 200 Lite. And there's a version of Gcam specifically for this phone. So I downloaded the .apk file and I was going to try and install it, and then I found out, oh, I'm a member, of course, of the high security Google Advanced Protection Program, and that physically prevents me from installing any kind of APK. And reinstalling the whole phone would have taken me a long time, since I'm running about 50 or 60 apps on here to test them all out, to test that they all work fine. And they do, by the way. So I've not been able to install Gcam, and the supplied on a camera app is a bit, it's not the best. You will get better photographs from your high-end iPhone and your high-end Google phone. This is a £160 phone. The next thing I'm going to praise is the lightness. This is a 166 gram Lite phone. Now the other Honor 200 series phones, and in fact there's now an Honor 300 phone that's been recently announced, are quite a lot heavier. And to me, if you're using this phone whilst performing athletics, then a greater than 200 gram phone starts to become an issue. I'd argue that also you'd need a smaller phone than this, actually. But this has very, very thin bezels, so it's 6.7 inch screen and body, and the fact this is a very, very slim phone. This is I think it's a 6.8 millimeter. Oh, I've written it down. 6.8 millimeter thin phone, and the camera bump is not excessive. So many phones these days, they have a slim body, but they sort of have this massive camera. I mean, the Google phone is to me a very badly engineered phone, because you have a phone with a profile like this, and the camera bump sticks out. And in order to mask that camera bump, you put it in a case where that camera bump has to be protected as well. So the case doesn't ride up to the camera edge; it goes over the top of it, making the camera bump even larger. Here, the camera bump is very minimal, and the 3 cameras on the back, it is just going over the edge of that phone. So it's a very light phone, and it's a very slim phone. It is quite it's larger than I would actually like this phone, but it's very light and it's very thin. So that is another plus. It's got a very small front camera island, or dynamic island, as you would say. So that's another thing in its favour. The screen real estate is very large. And my normal comment about quality of construction. Okay, this phone, if you take it out of its case, doesn't feel quite as premium as a aluminium or titanium Google Pixel phone. However, you're going to put the Pixel phone or your £1,000 Apple phone in a case, and when you put it in a case, you cannot tell that the back is made out of plastic. So to me, once I've got this lovely case on here, it's a kind of carbon fibre-esque look on the back, it's in every way as good as this titanium-edged Apple iPhone. I cannot tell the difference. It's in a case. And that goes with the colours as well. I mean, don't get me started about, I've released a new phone colour. What have we got left? We've got the very large battery. So it's got a 4500 milliamp hour battery, which lasts easily a day. Again, for me, a phone's battery needs to last a day comfortably. It doesn't need to last 2 days or 5 days or 10 days, because at the end of that day, or usually after a bit of exercise, I will plug that phone in, and in the 35 minutes to 45 minutes where I am having a shower and changing, this phone will be fully recharged. So for people who are have a similar lifestyle, the battery lasts a day very comfortably. I've talked about the fact that we've got a fingerprint reader on the side and not an under-screen fingerprint reader. Again, that was exactly what I was looking for. I did not want an under-screen fingerprint reader. I found them to be unreliable and slow, and at the best, they are just a little bit worse than the side-mounted fingerprint reader, which is on this phone. And don't forget, you can unlock this phone with the facial unlock feature optionally, and I find that very convenient. So again, it's it's a winner. And the last bullet in my list is performance. This phone absolutely stonks along. We've got 8 gigabytes of memory, 250 gigabytes of disk space, and I mean, I've not had any problems whatsoever with the performance of this phone. I'm not a gamer. I can't give any indication as to whether it's a good gaming phone. But for daily activities, the power in this phone is total and utter overkill. So, as you can see, I am very much impressed with this phone. For the money, or for any money, it's so good that I'm just trying to think, like, why would anyone spend £1,000 on a phone if you can get this for £200? So there you have it. It's the Honor 200 Lite phone. You can get it on Amazon for about £170 in the UK. You buy it on Prime and you don't like it, you can just send it back. But I think if you're in the market for a new phone, or if you'd like to give your current phone to a number of members of the family, then really consider this phone. It is a brilliant phone at any price. And at the price that Amazon is selling it, it is an absolute no-brainer. Thanks for watching.